So what I want to do now is, and we'll come back to this idea of how to break the influence cycle over you again later on. This is more an introduction to get your mind rolling this way. And partly because we want to figure out how can we direct the conversation. We need to be in control in order to do the conversation hypnosis, right? We all know, that, again, the stereotypical salesperson that goes, yada, yada, chat, 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 chewing your ear off. Question, maybe, chat, 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 well, yeah, I guess, chat, 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 right? You're not in charge of that interaction or that conversation. How are you going to introduce yourself in a way that you can maintain the contact so you can actually introduce your dream machine over here so that when the objections arise, you have the space to destroy the objections and so on? Wouldn't that be interesting? Believe it or not, you have the essence of it in terms of what you just did. How did the transaction change when instead of being, so we say, socially compliant, so they are running the frame, they're asking the questions, they're asking for the favors and so on, you changed the frame yourself. In other words, you had a broken record, or you set your own conditions like a pre-frame before you engage and so on. How did the interaction feel different or change compared to how you did it earlier on? Any answers? Was it different? Yeah. Yes? Yeah. Speaking to you as the subject, the person being influenced at this point, would you say you felt more empowered or less empowered the second time? More empowered? Would that be fair to say? Would it be fair to say then that once you introduced your own, like, your defense mechanism, whether it's like saying, you know, not interested, not interested, not interested, or presenting your own pre-frame, sure, on the condition that, and so on, that something changed in your part as well, the influencer. Did you notice that for a moment they went, even though they know it's coming, there was a moment where they had to reevaluate what's going on. You've broken their script, so to speak. Did everyone notice that? Right? If you really want to notice this works great. This is a lot of fun then, because then those annoying phone calls you get at night sometimes become a lot of fun. The telesales people that call you up, I like to think of them as practice fodder. Yes. Right? Because they're going to annoy you one way or the other. So, you know, if you haven't got time, fine, just hang up, it's all good. But if I just remembered, one guy I just decided to just like try all kinds of things out. I annoyed him so much, he ended up giving me doing crank calls for the next hour. He'd call, do some heavy breathing, and I knew exactly what it was, because the timing wasn't exactly like that distance. So rather than engaging, back to the whole idea of the broken record, you know, hello, wait, I get it. I didn't say anything, click. Hello, wait, click. I figured eventually he's going to get bored, and he did. But the point is, you need to know a little bit of these things, because if you go a little bit too far, someone's ego might get involved too. But on that note aside, telesales people are great people to start playing with, because they have a sales script. Often if it's a good sales script, you'll recognize a lot of the patterns we've talked about already. More importantly, their mindset is fixed. Because they are stuck on a script, they cannot interact properly. The good ones will dissect the scripts and know how to feed back into it smoothly and conversationally. But most people don't stick around long enough to get good. All they can do is read. And when you ask a question, say, oh, hold on a second, a few minutes ago you said this. Could you tell me that, could you remind me about that again? And they'll go, well, no, actually, so what I wanted to say was this. No, but you told me about this. That's very interesting. Tell me more about that. And they'll go, but so they're really, and they'll try to get back onto their broken record constantly. See how often you can interrupt them until they kind of give up. They will give up, by the way, eventually. They'll go, have a nice day, sir. Click. And the reason for this is because in order to direct a conversation, you need to be able to direct it. In order to direct it, when you're not in charge of it, you have to be able to interrupt it. Does that make sense? Yeah. A moment ago, you practiced interrupting a conversation, didn't you? Yeah. It was a more hardline interrupt, because we're basically showing you how to not be caught in a social construct. But what if you are in that social contract? It's appropriate to be in that, whether it's a business meeting or you're talking to your kids and so on. You know, you don't want to break the social contract at that point, but you still need to be in charge of the interaction. What do you do then? Isn't that an interesting question to ask? This is where interruptions become important, but doing them elegantly is also important, because when you interrupt, you run the risk of, when I say being rude, I don't mean just violating the social contract. You could harm someone's self-esteem, and then their self-defense mechanisms flare, and that's where the problems occur. The problem is not the interruption. The problem is if someone's ego is bruised as a result of the interruption. Does that make sense? You've been interrupted 1,000 times and haven't cared. Some people are more robust than others, so they can be interrupted more robustly than others, and they won't care. So the skill then is, how do we stop interrupting people and make it smooth, make it elegant, so that people will just let you do it. It's just natural part of the conversation, and then realize that they've handed over the reins.